Hello. Everything you are about to hear is based on information that cannot be easily verified. The sources are anonymous and some details remain unclear. But if even half of it is true, the world is not as you think. In the final decades of the Cold War, as battles between global powers shifted from battlefields to scientific and psychological domains, projects emerged in remote corners of the world that were neither publicized nor recorded in any official documents. One such mystery is known unofficially as Project Acoustica, a project conducted deep in the rainforests of South America, unknown to anyone for years until a simple incident changed everything. In recent years, a renovation program began for an old weather station in a remote part of the Amazon rainforest. Abandoned since the 1970s, the station was set to be rebuilt to improve regional weather infrastructure. But when the renovation team arrived to demolish the old foundation, they accidentally uncovered an underground structure that didn't match any existing maps. Old subterranean pathways, rusty metal doors, and worn-out equipment buried in darkness for years clearly showed this was more than a simple weather station. The renovation team immediately reported their findings to the authorities. A few days later, an expert group of military specialists, audio engineers, and industrial archaeologists was dispatched to the site. Today, the only information available comes from the limited but precise reports of this team. According to the team's reports, the base's entrance was about 6 meters underground, directly beneath the main weather station structure. After the expert team entered the subterranean complex and inspected the rusty iron stairs and partially collapsed corridors, they reached a large room. Inside were 3 old diesel generators covered in a thick layer of dust and surface mold. They appeared to have been inactive for decades, but their overall structure was intact. 2 team members with technical experience in industrial facilities, after hours of inspecting parts, filters, and replacing decayed hoses, managed to restart one of the generators. The loud, muffled sound of the engine starting echoed in the confined underground space, and moments later, the old wiring system crackled faintly as it brought power back to the circuit. Moments later, the ceiling fluorescent lights flickered on one by one with a clicking sound. The trembling light illuminated the dark corridors and dusty equipment after decades. Now the team could thoroughly examine all the unknown parts of this structure. The activation of the generators opened a gateway to secrets that perhaps should have remained silent forever. The underground chambers were built with reinforced concrete layers and protected by thick doors with mechanical locks. Upon entering, the team found a series of specialized spaces, laboratories with electroacoustic devices, rooms equipped with soundproofing narrow pathways connecting different parts of the facility, and a room that appeared to be the personnel's living quarters. Initial investigations revealed that Project Acoustica focused on using specific sound frequencies to influence human mind and behavior. Based on the obtained documents, often incomplete or encrypted experiments were conducted on 2 main groups, adults and children. The ultimate goal was to explore the possibility of creating conditioned responses without direct contact through sound. One document mentioned terms like muting frequencies, behavioral interference, subconscious memory stimulation, and cognitive blocking. The main equipment included devices generating infrasound and ultrasound waves outside the human hearing range, but directly affecting the nervous system. Some of these devices consisted of sound-amplifying tubes, metallic resonating diaphragms, and oscillation sensors. In another part of the facility, helmets with multiple electrodes were found, seemingly designed to measure or even rewrite brain responses. Among the documents, a simple but striking chart was found, showing that at frequencies around 17.25 Hz, the highest percentage of sudden psychological reactions was recorded. This chart, with its horizontal axis showing wave intensity in decibels and vertical axis showing psychological reactions from headaches to hallucinations, displayed terms like panic onset, perceived shadow presence, and blurred vision near this frequency. This specific range was later called the infrasound ghost range by independent researchers. The expert team members who restarted the generator and activated some of these devices experienced symptoms. One had a severe headache, another nausea, and one suffered an anxiety attack, describing a feeling of someone present in the darkness. These experiences reinforced the project's practical credibility and the direct impact of sound on human perception. One of the most terrifying parts of the base was a room hidden behind a thick sealed door. A red symbol with no clear meaning was painted on it. The room's interior was distinctly inhumane and eerie. Dim lighting, steel tables with rust marks, and old surgical tools bearing traces of dried blood or metal corrosion. At the far end, metal beds with leather straps for restraining people were found. On one bed, the remains of a dried corpse, still locked in metal restraints, were discovered, its bones still secured in the straps. The room smelled of decay, rust, and something like old preservatives. Notes found in this section contain signs of studying sound's effects on internal organs after death. One remaining report briefly but significantly mentioned the weather conditions in the lab's final year. According to the note, unprecedented torrential rains in the late 1970 flooded parts of the Amazon rainforest. The floodwaters cut off communication routes, and heavy mud engulfed the base's entrances and underground tunnels. As water levels rose and threatened the structure's stability, personnel were forced to evacuate urgently. The sudden abandonment left many documents and equipment buried in darkness and mud, forgotten for decades. The research team, after navigating complex underground pathways, reached a room protected by heavy metal doors. Inside were tables and shelves filled with documents, maps, and sealed files. The lab, or secret base's operators, active here years ago, had clearly designated this room for storing sensitive information. Carefully opening the documents, they found reports detailing the project's progress over time and encrypted correspondence hinting at centers in the Soviet Union and Cuba, though no explicit names were mentioned. The codes and ciphers used in the letters suggested the project was at least somewhat linked to these countries' intelligence agencies. No definitive evidence was found, but these indirect, vague clues gave the team a sense of a hidden, shadowy collaboration. It was as if behind these stone walls, a complex network of secret communications and international covert projects had operated, undetected until now. In one of the rusty drawers in the base's office, a hand-drawn map and an incomplete letter were found, pointing to coordinates north of the site. A 4-person team from the expert group, with light equipment, trekked 4 hours through mud and dense vegetation to reach the location. There, they found an unnaturally flat patch of ground with loose soil, different from the surroundings. The first dig revealed human remains, one after another. Ultimately, a mass grave with at least 30 human skeletons was uncovered, some still bound by chains at the wrists or neck. The bodies were piled haphazardly, without covering, as if the goal was a quick cleanup. After the team's return, a detailed report was prepared. But just days later, unknown groups entered the area, removing all equipment, documents, and even physical remains. The base's entrance was sealed with concrete. The area was placed under special surveillance and public access was banned. Today, the renovated weather station appears to be just a rain and temperature monitoring center. But those who uncovered those dark tunnels still speak of what was hidden in the depths, a project some believe was part of a silent, forgotten experiment to use sound as a tool for mind control. And only those who heard those sounds know the project hasn't truly stopped. It's just buried deeper. A claim, of course, that has never been officially confirmed or denied.